The rear of the car is very familiar for Formula One. The power unit, as we call it. The engine, battery, power electronics, electric motors, and the turbocharger. Exactly as you'll see in Formula One.
At a time when most automakers are racing towards solid-state batteries and fast-charging EVs, Mercedes takes a few steps back by reviving older combustion-based hybrid systems. Despite being an older system, recent patents and interviews reveal a new engine designed to challenge the industry standard for EVs.
It's not about compromising. It's about being creative, being innovative, without throwing away the performance, without causing other issues. And that was what we really had to focus on.
But why take the risk of returning to an outdated system? And what makes Koenigsegg so confident that it would succeed?
And spin the wheels up to 540 kilometers per hour, and we can do high-speed setups and maximum power for all the models we can conceive for the future.
Join us as we carefully unpack the answers and unveil the features behind Mercedes' new and advanced engine. The Mercedes Initiative and Tesla's dilemma. As of June 2025, it seems electric cars are everywhere. Almost every major car company now makes EVs, with powerhouses like Tesla leading the market. Others like Rivian, Lucid, BYD, and Porsche are still living hard, while governments in Europe and the US are openly supporting the global shift. Today, there are more charging stations than ever before, and users are getting more comfortable with switching to EVs. With many cities like Mumbai and Stockholm planning to ban all gas vehicles by the next decade, it seems EVs are going to be the future of the auto industry. But this is where things get interesting. Although it seems EVs are the future, the actual numbers show the momentum is slowing down. Today, several problems with EVs have become more obvious than ever, with suggested solutions that haven't worked for over 2 decades. Compared to charging a gas tank, most EVs take over half an hour to recharge even with the fastest chargers. And while promises of hyperchargers giving a full boost in 5 minutes have been promised by Tesla and its competitors for over a decade, all of these expectations have always been met by disappointment. Range anxiety has been an issue since the advent of EVs, so much so that even the premium models aren't immune to its effects. Many angry users have complained about their Model S Plaid and Lucid Airs suddenly losing power twice as fast on highways, depending on the weather. And third, though EVs pride themselves on being the cleaner and more energy-efficient alternative to gasoline cars, the batteries they run on are built with expensive materials like lithium and cobalt that are hard to mine and cause harm to the environment. Most of the electricity used to charge EVs doesn't always come from renewable energy sources. This means that charging EVs still creates carbon emissions even though they don't run on combustible fuel, thereby defeating the purpose of getting one for the sake of caring for the environment. This happens at a time when many countries are still relying on coal and gas for electricity, showing that EVs aren't as green as Elon Musk, and many tech leaders in the space make them out to be. This gets even more bizarre when recent studies show that an average fuel-efficient hybrid or synthetic fuel engine can give a smaller carbon footprint over its full lifetime than average EVs. But this is where it gets much worse. You see, many of the materials that are used to make batteries for EVs come from countries with poor working conditions and questionable systems of government. The problem has grown so bad that some sociologists claim that the mining process alone might one day trigger a war. The concerns only get bigger when we think about the electric grid in most places. Take California, for example. In that region, the power grid is already under pressure. This happens mostly during heat waves and wildfires, destroying everything they come across. As more people charge EVs at home, the higher demand on the power grid causes blackouts. These blackouts bring up a sudden need for upgrades that are both impractical and expensive. Some of these projects take 5 to 7 years to finish, and that alone makes it an impossible task in rural and developing areas. But not even wealthy cities are immune to its problems. Many EV owners living in the most developed regions of the United States still rely on home charging, yet this only works properly when there are private parking spaces designed for this. Those who live in rented apartments are easily left behind. All these problems make a few users and tech reviewers wonder whether buying an EV is even worth it in 2025. But in the middle of this mess, one German company has been making headlines. This company from Germany is Mercedes-Benz, a global auto giant known for blending performance, innovation, and luxury into one of the most iconic brands in the industry. It began long before most others, tracing its legacy back to Carl Benz in 1886, the man behind the first gasoline-powered automobile. For decades, Mercedes was the symbol of engineering perfection for both consumers and competitors. But in today's electric age, it is stepping into a new role. While most automakers are pushing EVs as the only path forward, Mercedes, under the leadership of current CEO Ola Källenius, believes there's still untapped power in combustion. Rather than abandoning the engine entirely, Mercedes-Benz is reimagining it with cleaner fuels, advanced hybrid systems, and synthetic alternatives that don't destroy the planet. At the same time, the company isn't dismissing electric cars. With EV flagships like the EQS and the upcoming Vision EQXX, Mercedes proves it understands where the market is going. But now, the company is preparing to reveal something that could flip the EV debate on its head. It's a new engine design that quietly answers all the problems critics have raised about Tesla and electric mobility, except without suffering from the usual drawbacks. So what happens when one company challenges the dominant narrative set by Tesla and the rest of the industry? Let's find out. The road to Mercedes' new system. Though the leadership at Mercedes-Benz is always bold and assertive with their claims, they are also known for letting their engineering speak instead of always stepping into the spotlight. One rarely gets long interviews from them about the future of the company or dramatic speeches about how Mercedes would reshape the world. Yet what gets built inside their German research hubs has made the entire auto industry stop to listen. And as it is with most historic inventions, the road to this point began with an old but persistent problem. Electric vehicles back in the late 1990s were slowly gaining support because they promised clean and quiet performance. The problem was that they came with heavy battery packs, limited charging networks, and an unstable global supply chain. These were the same issues that haunted GM's EV1 when it launched in 1996, and for that reason, it sold fewer than 1,500 units by 2001. GM's EV1 flopped so badly that the company ended up collecting, refunding, and crushing every last unit by 2003. And while companies like Tesla were trying to fix those issues head-on, Mercedes-Benz engineers believed those problems would not go away easily, even with the billions spent. They believed EVs wouldn't be the only future. With that in mind, Mercedes focused on reinventing combustion powertrains in a smarter, lighter, and cleaner way, but with a twist. They didn't just want to make cleaner gasoline systems, they were also aiming to make them extremely powerful. Their internal engineers believed that combustion engines still had massive potential, if paired with the right technology and the right fuel. This was an ambitious idea, but it came alive through a system now branded under their F1-inspired variable valve control technology. Normally, engines rely on camshafts to open and close valves at fixed timings to control air and fuel. That method has ruled auto engine design for over 100 years. But Mercedes's newer adaptive valve systems allow each cylinder to adjust its airflow dynamically, shutting down some cylinders when cruising and maximizing output under pressure. To put it simply, it gives the same or better performance using less fuel and with lower emissions. These engines are compact, highly efficient, and perform well across weather and terrain conditions. This was proven in one of their prototype hybrid engines tested back in 2010. But the road was rough. It took almost 6 years before the system was ready for performance-grade production. A working version was first demonstrated on a modified A-Class concept machine, and the results were much better than expected. The engine outperformed several larger combustion rivals in output and emissions. But this was only the beginning. Just a year before that test, Mercedes had released their first serious hybrid sports car, the AMG Project 1. Launched around 2013, this car used a highly advanced hybrid system that ditched conventional transmission setups. It was used with a turbocharged F1-based combustion engine matched with 4 electric motors. The system could launch the car from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in under 3 seconds. It didn't change gears in the traditional sense, offering continuous raw acceleration. That was the turning point. Mercedes-AMG proved that hybrid powertrains could deliver brutal force while staying refined. Then, in 2021, they released the AMG 1 production version, targeting a top speed just under 400 kilometers per hour. Its 1.6-liter F1 engine and hybrid motors delivered over 1,000 horsepower using advanced e-fuels and battery management systems. For context, today's Formula One cars run at roughly 340 kilometers per hour, with power levels below what Mercedes put on public roads that year. From that point forward, Mercedes-AMG had officially become the brand known for turning clean power into madness. But that wasn't the end. The team inside Affalterbach had much bigger plans. Behind the scenes, Mercedes engineers were working on something even more exciting. A compact engine designed to bring all their hybrid knowledge into a smaller, scalable platform. The idea was to fully integrate the variable valve tech with a lightweight electric drive. For decades, these concepts had lived in white papers and test benches, but now they were aiming for full-scale production. From early 2021 through late 2023, Mercedes had one goal in mind: build a new combustion engine that could outperform most of Tesla's drivetrains in weight, responsiveness, and overall driving feel. But before they could reveal it, they needed one last piece of the puzzle. That final piece was revealed in July 2023. It would become the centerpiece of Mercedes-Benz's next era of performance engineering. The code name for this electric drive project was phase shift. The concept for Mercedes' phase shift electric motor came during the height of 2020. While most of the world was locked down, their advanced powertrain division began experimenting with a new style of motor architecture. They deliberately avoided following the standard debate of axial versus radial flux designs. Instead, they created a new approach that fused both into a hybrid layout. Instead of copper windings stacked in a traditional housing, they used carbon-reinforced composites for both rotor and stator elements. The result? A revolutionary 39-kilogram electric motor producing 800 horsepower and over 1,300 newton-meters of torque. It sounded impossible. That kind of torque matches the output of diesel truck engines used for heavy commercial work. Yet Mercedes had compressed everything into the size of a medium suitcase. On the surface, phase shift looked like a system designed only for the latest AMG hypercars. But in reality, it just was the electric half of something much bigger. Mercedes wanted to build a complete hybrid drivetrain where the electric motor and combustion engine didn't compete, but completed each other. Phase shift solved the EV side of the equation. Now came the harder part: building a new combustion engine that could match it without compromise. The new engine had to be ultra-compact, responsive, compatible with carbon-neutral e-fuels, and emission-free at the point of use. It had to survive harsh climates, support multiple driving modes, and work without relying on traditional camshaft layouts. For over 20 years, Mercedes had played with the edge of combustion and electric. Would they once again be able to do the impossible with this one? Mercedes' upcoming hybrid engine. The breakout came during the fall of last year, not long after Mercedes-Benz had begun the final stage of their new engine system. This system was designed for a new hybrid hypercar to be revealed in late 2025 and released in mid-2026. According to the leaked details and patents, this engine is a lightweight 3 to 4 cylinder setup weighing less than 2 liters and equipped with advanced camless technology. It weighs far less than Tesla's Model S drivetrain and operates across several combustion modes. from lean burn for efficiency, rich burn for output, slow combustion for low temperature to cylinder deactivation for cruising. The new engine is designed to function within a smart hybrid structure. The system would be completed by the Mercedes-Benz Vision EQ 2020 motor, currently their most powerful and efficient e-drive system. The electric unit would assist the combustion engine as a seamless co-driver in real-time torque delivery. The internal combustion unit would remain the central powerhouse, offering unmatched sound and throttle response that is rarely seen in any hybrid or pure electric setup. The earliest simulations from Mercedes-Benz's R&D teams show that this new hybrid drivetrain could allow the car to match and even perform better than the Rimac Nevera and Tesla Model S Plaid in both acceleration and top speed. Despite this performance, the hybrid system would remain extremely light and far easier to refuel. Even cities with the strictest zero-emission laws would find the car compliant due to its low carbon footprint. At present, the engine system is being finalized within the Mercedes-AMG facility in Affalterbach, Germany. Because of how custom the parts are, many key components are being manufactured in-house, from the compact engine block to the carbon fiber chassis and thermal systems. According to the engineering leads, every step is being carefully overseen to show that their plan wasn't just intelligent guesswork. The metallic parts of the engine use 3D printed alloys with high heat resistance and weight savings. This same method is also being applied to airflow routing and hybrid energy mapping, ensuring the drive response remains consistent in all conditions. As for the fuel supply, Mercedes-Benz has partnered with several clean energy groups across Europe to provide synthetic e-fuels through their Ambition 2029 initiative. These partners will use electricity sourced from wind and solar to power the production process. The basic workflow begins by using electrolysis to separate hydrogen from water, then captures carbon dioxide from the air, combining them to form a clean-burning fuel. On paper, this means the engine can operate at full speed without adding new carbon to the atmosphere, since the carbon dioxide emitted is the same gas previously pulled from the air. As for the wider industry, Mercedes-Benz still maintains that electric vehicles are useful but cannot be the sole answer to long-term environmental targets. Mercedes CEO Ola Källenius believes what the market needs is energy variety. Electric drive works well in urban transport and low-mileage commutes. But for long-distance logistics, aviation, heavy-duty construction, and motorcycles, more adaptable energy systems are required. This is where hybrid systems using clean fuels come in. During an internal summit, Mercedes-Benz executives referenced a recent report estimating that over 1.4 billion vehicles today still run on gasoline, and transitioning all of them to battery power would not only be slow but dangerously resource-intensive. Even if it's technically possible, it would take decades and demand enormous mining efforts, causing other forms of damage to the planet. But with renewable synthetic fuels and more intelligent combustion engines, existing vehicles could stay in use longer, emissions would fall faster, and the overall transition would be smoother, cheaper, and more sustainable. The first model to feature this new powertrain will be a limited edition hybrid, with fewer than 200 units expected to sell out on launch day. This new engine is not being designed as a one-off or as a short-lived experiment. Instead, it's being built with scalability in mind. It can be adapted to smaller sports cars, compact sedans, and even premium motorcycles. Even off-road and utility vehicles can benefit from cheaper versions of the same core setup, depending on how Mercedes or partner brands configure the final output. The brand's top leadership believes the coming decades will be shaped by a multi-system energy era, similar to how Google's Android and Apple's iOS coexist today. The idea is not for one fuel to dominate everything, but for different technologies to serve different use cases. The company's CEO, Ola Källenius, believes that by the year 2050, the world will see electric, hydrogen, hybrid, and synthetic fuel-based transport systems operating side by side in the mainstream. According to Ola Källenius, There is no magic formula that solves pollution with a single fix. It's rather about lowering the need for gasoline with better options. The company's CEO believes the key is excitement. People won't switch because they're forced to, he says, but will only do so when the alternative is better in every way. That's why Mercedes-Benz is doubling down on performance, quality, and emotional driving feel, even while transitioning to green energy systems. Ola Källenius sees this next-gen hybrid as a real-world solution for drivers who don't want to compromise. This engine doesn't produce wasteful emissions, it's easier to install in compact vehicles, and it doesn't sacrifice the joy of driving. With all the headlines pointing to this new hybrid concept, many industry watchers are now questioning how Tesla will respond. If the patents are correct, the new Mercedes engine is much better on all counts than anything Tesla can offer today. With so much promise coming from this new engine, many now wonder what the biggest contender on the market is doing about it. But whether Tesla can keep its edge against the emerging competition and be one of those that incorporates the new engine into their systems is yet to be confirmed. However, one thing about this remains certain. Even though the company's CEO claims that the future will be a lot more diverse than other companies hope it would be, the truth is, Mercedes still has to compete for the top spot to remain relevant. Koenigsegg's new engine would have to wipe the floor with all the other companies to set the standard he has in mind. Today, the world is excited to see what Mercedes has to offer. And until the product gets officially unveiled by the fall and released before the summer of next year, we'll just have to wait and see what the CEO has in store for the rest of the world. So, what do you think? Will Koenigsegg's new engine system wipe the floor with all the giants of the tech industry? Or will this turn out to be another overblown invention with nothing helpful to offer? Let us know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Also, click on the next video shown on your screen. You will enjoy it.